Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pulitzer Prize Administrator Dana Kennedy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're so thrilled to have you here and hope you enjoyed the reception. We have quite an afternoon in store for you. And I'd like to start by asking all the Pulitzer Prize board members who are here to stand and be recognized, please. Anyone on the board? There we are. All right. And I'd like to welcome to the stage Mr. Bob Blau and Professor Steve Hahn, co-chairs of the Pulitzer Board. They'll say a few words to get us started.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Hahn. I'm co-chair of the Pulitzer Prize Board, and I gotta say, this is just terrific. Let me welcome you to this annual ceremony, and especially let me congratulate you on the remarkable achievements for which you'll be recognized this afternoon. But let me thank you as well. Each year, board members marvel at the creativity, the originality, the elegance, the deep insight, and the courage that are displayed in the books and poetry, drama, music, and journalism we have had the pleasure and the honor to read and to hear and to see. We know a little bit about what it takes to produce the sort of work that the Pulitzer Prizes are meant to reward: the artistry, thoughtfulness, information and analysis, the challenges to our ways of looking at and understanding the world, the many risks that are taken and endured, some life-threatening in character, and under any circumstances we feel ourselves humbled and in your debt. Yet in times such as these, when intellectual life is widely devalued, if not demonized, and when the search for truth in the face of power is not simply belittled, but as we know, punished and repressed, the works that the Pulitzer Prizes reward serve as stunning examples of what our sustenance and futures depend upon. In so many significant ways, you have reminded us of what is fundamental to a decent and humane society. In showing how the present is shaped by the past, how struggles for survival and justice tilt the balances against exploitation and degradation, how the imaginative deployment of words and images and sounds enable us to see and hear the world and ourselves in new ways, and how the tireless quest to tell the stories of our times with their complex threads and tangles and knots make essential meaning for all of us. You have exemplified the best that our culture embodies, and you stand as inspirations for young and old. Each year that I sit with my board colleagues to deliberate on the awards, I feel energized by and so very proud to be part of what your work makes possible. Congratulations.
Thank you, Steve. Just a couple of quick thank yous to President Bollinger for his unyielding support and leadership with these prizes. And a big thanks to Dana and her unstoppable 100-mile-per-hour spirit that brought us together for this great event today. On November 2nd, the front page of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette displayed this headline in unadorned Hebrew script: Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shmei Rabbah. They are the words of the Jewish mourner's prayer, printed in solidarity with the 11 victims slain at the Tree of Life Synagogue the week before. I have a feeling that the headline, with its perfect dignified pitch, would have stirred Joseph Pulitzer, who clearly valued blunt and bold expression in a time of crisis. But it also reflects the solemnity and loss at the heart of so much of the work we are honoring today, from the bloodied classrooms of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School to the ill-defined battlefields of Yemen to the newsroom of the Capital Gazette. It was a year in which journalists stood witness to the most heinous crimes carried out against innocent men, women, and children, including in our ranks. Your work did not end with mourning and sadness. You helped communities heal even when it seemed a far-fetched possibility. You changed laws. You demanded accountability. You exposed wrongdoing and abuse, in some cases carried out for decades with impunity. You documented the lies, exaggerations, and frauds of con men and cheats. You stood up for the rights of voiceless refugees, assaulted by destructive political forces in faraway places and right here at home. Through your words and images, you delivered the elusive facts that informed our understanding of an imperfect and treacherous world. In arts and letters, you lifted our spirits with the momentous stories of our collective past. You showed us how a people once enslaved could, with its first breath of freedom, scale the loftiest intellectual and artistic heights, how the natural world holds vital lessons for its reckless human caretakers, and how cruelty can yield the music of redemption. You have showed us how to be more responsible, more honest, and more demanding as a nation and as its citizens. The Pulitzer Board has had the privilege of immersing itself in your work that stood out this year for its passion, clarity, erudition, and authority. We were awestruck by the seemingly impossible combination of fearlessness, drive, sophistication, fairness, and respect that you brought to the task, often under debilitating circumstances. We are honored that you are here today, and we thank you for upholding the highest values at a time of uncertainty, but also a time of great need that only promises to expand in the years ahead. The warmest and biggest congratulations, and please enjoy every minute of this day. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a lot in store for you all today. We're delighted that you're here and to celebrate the 103rd class of Pulitzer Prize honorees. There is so much to be proud of in the work being honored here today. That said, I must confess that I had a favorite this year among all the entries. It was a submission that did not win. But as I said on announcement day, it's one that should give us all hope for this great industry of journalism. The entry was from the staff of the Eagle Eye student newspaper at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, which submitted the obituaries of 17 classmates, teachers, and coaches who were killed during a tragic shooting in their school in Parkland, Florida last year. One of the students from the Eagle Eye said in a recent article in the Sun Sentinel newspaper that, quote, "English class doesn't teach you how to write obituaries when you are in high school." And yet, that is exactly what these student journalists did. The Eagle Eye's Pulitzer application stated that the student reporters and editors had to, quote, "put aside their grief and recognize our roles as both survivors, journalists, and loved ones of the deceased." These budding journalists remind us all of the media's unwavering commitment to bearing witness, even in the most wrenching of circumstances. There is hope in their example for our noble profession, which is why I'm honored to have them here today as our guests. Would the journalists from the Eagle Eye please stand and be recognized at what I'm sure will not be your last appearance at the Pulitzer Prize ceremony. Bravery and commitment to purpose was a palpable theme of this year's prizes. It served to remind us that of course the press will endure, even as security threats to journalists are greater than ever before, and even as some would wrongly degrade the media as the enemy of the very democracy that it serves. That is false marketing, not fake news. And we should call it out as such because, as the Founding Fathers knew well, there can be no democracy without a free press. That is something Rebecca Smith, Wendy Winters, Rob Hyacin, Gerald Fishman, and John McNamara understood too. They understood it when they went to work last June at the Capitol Gazette in Annapolis, Maryland, and were gunned down by a madman who opened fire in their newsroom. We are honored to also have with us the staff and family members of the Capitol Gazette here with us today, and we salute you for your courage and your perseverance, and we are so deeply sorry for your loss. We also remember the courage of Jamal Khashoggi, whose colleagues from the Washington Post are here today. Mr. Khashoggi knew the risk when he wrote Truth to Power at the Post before being murdered last year inside the Saudi consulate in Turkey. His legacy lives on for countless journalists who are inspired by his unflinching dedication to telling the stories that he believes should be told. Time and again, journalists during the past year produced work that could never be dismissed as fake. That work includes reporting by two of this year's winners, Hua Lone and Chao Su-u of Reuters. They were sent to prison for impactful reporting in Myanmar that upheld the highest principles and ideals of our industry. Thankfully, they were freed by presidential pardon earlier this month after serving 511 days of a 7-year sentence. Upon their release, one of the first things Hua Lone said was, "I can't wait to go to my newsroom." Well, I spoke with both of the journalists last week, and they said they could also not wait to be here with you today. Hua Lone and Chao Su-u are indeed here today, and I invite them to join me on stage now.
Chúng ta đi cho su và đi chúng ta này này đi right at the thao lúc bao cảnh bao đi cố ra thì nhà cái này thu chi số thì giàu cho cháu được bảo đấy chúng ta đâu the thao thì này này các bạn đó cái the thao thì media quay sẽ thì áp dụng nhiều mục để giá trị cái đấy rồi thu của quan trọng của nhiều mình bảo đấy.
My name is Jong So-u, and I would like to say thank you for this recognition on behalf of everyone in Reuters Myanmar team. We are incredibly grateful for the support we have received from all the journalists and media organizations around the world.
တည်င်းလုံးကမှဒီအရန်ကိုကြီးမားတဲ့ဂုဏ်သိက္ခာရှိတဲ့အခုလိုကျွန်တော်တို့ကိုတရားခပ်ပြုခဲ့တဲ့အပြင်အခုလိုစကားပြောခွင့်ရတဲ့အတွက်အရန်ကိုဂုဏ်ယူဝမ်းမြောက်မိပါတယ်
I'm very honored to stand here at such a great ceremony. I would like to say thank you to everybody.
အားလုံးကိုကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်
Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Hua Lone. I feel very humble and greatly honored to be here. I want to thank Pulitzer Committee and everyone else who has supported for 511 days we were spent in Myanmar prison. I would like to recognize our fellow journalists around the world who risk their lives and their freedom every day to report the news. Finally, we want to use this opportunity to thank our wives, our small daughters and our families and friends who continually support us during that hard time. We cannot survive without their supports, the support of everyone at Reuters and all of you around the world. Thank you so much.
What an inspiration. Just as in journalism, in the arts and letters categories as well, our winners this year reflect a dedication to purpose that is revealed through extraordinary work that shines a light on the pride, the potential, but also the pain of the times. They include books, music, drama that inform, uplift, and at times anger us about some of the most pressing social, political, and cultural issues of the day. There are extraordinary expressions, creative expressions of freedom about gender, about poverty, race, and history, and policies on the communities and about the world we inhabit. The winning work reflects American music, literature, and drama at its finest. In honor of one of our winners, Miss Aretha Franklin, and in tribute to all whose lives have been devastated by gun violence, we will have a special musical presentation this afternoon. To begin, I have the pleasure of introducing two divinely gifted musical guests who have generously donated their time and talent to perform for you. They are Damian Sneed and Brandy Inez Sutton. Mr. Sneed is a multi-genre recording artist, producer, composer, conductor, and musical educator. He is a protege of Pulitzer Prize winner Wynton Marsalis, and he toured with the Queen of Soul. Ms. Sutton has appeared on opera stages across the globe, including Carnegie Hall, and is currently a soprano with the Metropolitan Opera. In fact, earlier in her career, she won a competition sponsored by Aretha Franklin that honored opera performers. Indeed, the impact of Ms. Franklin's influence in American music lives on in these two artists. In that spirit, we invite you to relax and enjoy your meal as we begin the program with performances by Mr. Sneed and Ms. Sutton. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our musical director, Damian Sneed, and Metropolitan Opera soprano, Brandy Inez Sutton.
In a sentimental I can see the stars come through my room while your loving attitude is like a flame that lights the gloom on the wings of every kiss. Dreams of melody so strange and sweet in this sentimental bliss. You make my paradise complete. Rose petals seem to fall. It's all like a dream to call you mine. And my heart's a lighter thing since you've made this night a thing divine. In a sentimental mood, I that you'd be loving sentimental me. No, I never dreamt that you'd be loving sentimental my hand on the gospel plow. Ain't gonna take nothing for my journey now. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. Keep your lamps trimmed and stay on track. Can't plow straight and keep looking back. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Just keep your hand on the plow and hold on. Mary had a golden chain. Every link spelled my Jesus' name. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. If you wanna get to heaven, let me tell you how. Just keep your hand on the gospel plow. Just keep your hand on the plow. Keep your hand on the plow. Just keep your hand on the plow and hold on. Got my hand on the gospel plow. Ain't gonna take nothing for my journey now. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. When I get to heaven, gonna sing and shout. Ain't nobody there gonna put me out. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
So I hope you're all enjoying your meals, and I would like to welcome to the stage with great honor Lee Bollinger, the president of Columbia University, who will present the awards.
Good afternoon. So we'll get to the awards in a second. This is always a remarkable day on the annual calendar. Worldwide attention is directed at the Pulitzer Prizes, and today on you, this year's honorees. For everyone of good sense and goodwill, it is a moment to be thankful for and to celebrate the institutions and the individuals represented in this room who devote themselves so bravely to the search for truth. Yes, that is a banal phrase, but one oh so meaningful and truly the bedrock of modern life and societies. Universities and scholars, the press and journalists, and all of the fields of the arts share this common mission, broadly understood. It is not the same as capitalism, nor religion, nor politics. Worthy those pursuits are in their own ways. The quest to understand, to add to what we know, and to communicate that to a public arises from the deepest parts of the human psyche, and all of us here today share that mission. Ironically, the thankfulness devoted to the Pulitzer Prizes and to all of you is inversely related to how much in jeopardy these institutions and activities represented in this august room are experiencing in today's world, here and abroad. This year, 2019, is the 100th anniversary of the very first Supreme Court cases interpreting the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, which arose out of the near cataclysmic events of that period. It is an extraordinary achievement to have created over this past century the most protective shield for freedom of thought and expression in the history of the world, a period which also, not coincidentally, brought forth the Pulitzer Prizes. So too can it be said of the creation of our modern press and of our great research universities. But that very newness of what we celebrate today should also make us that much more conscious of just how fragile it all is and of how the forces that would undermine what we have built have a much longer place and more practice in human history. No authoritarian-minded person or leader likes criticism or embarrassment, and naturally will try to deploy all available powers to stop it from happening and to punish those who bring it about. But the ultimate goal of the authoritarian mindset is always not just to punish truth tellers, but rather to eliminate the idea of truth itself and to make truth whatever the leader says it is, to make truth irrelevant. Today we are experiencing both of these phenomena, and that's why the Pulitzer Prizes and you, its newest representatives, are so important. You courageously stand in the way of these bad forces and continue doing what you do day after day. And for all of that, we are deeply thankful. And now let's turn to the prizes. Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Public Service for a distinguished example of meritorious public service, awarded to the South Florida Sun-Sentinel for exposing failings by school and law enforcement officials before and after the deadly shooting rampage at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Congratulations to the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. And now the Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Breaking News Reporting. For a distinguished example of local, state, or national reporting of breaking news, awarded to the staff of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for immersive, compassionate coverage of the massacre at Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Synagogue that captured the anguish and resilience of a community thrust into grief. Congratulations to the staff of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. The Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Investigative Reporting. For a distinguished example of investigative reporting, awarded to Matt Hamilton, Harriet Ryan, and Paul Pringle of the Los Angeles Times for consequential reporting on the University of Southern California gynecologist accused of violating hundreds of young women for more than a quarter century. The Pulitzer Prize for Explanatory Reporting. For a distinguished example of explanatory reporting, awarded to David Barstow, Suzanne Craig, Russ Butner of the New York Times for an exhaustive 18-month investigation of President Donald Trump's finances that debunked his claims of self-made wealth and revealed a business empire riddled with tax dodges. Congratulations. The Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Local Reporting, for a distinguished example of reporting on significant issues of local concern, awarded to the staff of The Advocate, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for a damning portrayal of the state's discriminatory conviction system, including a Jim Crow-era law that enabled the Louisiana courts to send defendants to jail without jury consensus on the accused's guilt. Congratulations to the staff of The Advocate. Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for National Reporting. For a distinguished example of reporting on national affairs, awarded to the staff of the Wall Street Journal for uncovering President Trump's secret payoffs to two women during his campaign who claimed to have had affairs with him, and the web of supporters who facilitated the transactions, triggering criminal inquiries and calls for impeachment. Congratulations to the staff of the Wall Street Journal. And now the Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for International Reporting for a distinguished example of reporting on international affairs awarded to, and there are multiple people here, Maggie, Michelle, Maud Al-Zakri, and Nerman El-Mofty of the Associated Press for revelatory year-long series detailing the atrocities of the war in Yemen, including theft of food aid, deployment of child soldiers, and torture of prisoners, and to the staff of Reuters, with notable contributions from Hua Long and Cha So-u for expertly exposing the military units and Buddhist villagers responsible for the systematic expulsion and murder of Rohingya Muslims from Myanmar, courageous coverage that landed its reporters in prison. We'll have AP come first and then Reuters. And now please the staff of Reuters. And now for the Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Feature Writing, for distinguished feature writing awarded to Hannah Dreier of ProPublica for a series of powerful, intimate narratives that followed Salvadoran immigrants on New York's Long Island whose lives were shattered by a botched federal crackdown on the international criminal gang MS-13. Congratulations, Hannah Dreier. And now the Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for distinguished commentary awarded to Tony Messenger of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch for bold columns that expose the malfeasance and injustice of forcing poor rural Missourians charged with misdemeanor crimes to pay unaffordable fines or be sent to jail. Congratulations to Tony Messenger. Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Distinguished Criticism. For distinguished criticism awarded to Carlos Lozada of the Washington Post for trenchant and searching reviews and essays that joined warm emotion and careful analysis in examining a broad range of books addressing government and the American experience. Congratulations, Carlos Lozada. The Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Editorial Writing. For distinguished editorial writing, awarded to Brent Staples of the New York Times for editorials written with extraordinary moral clarity that charted the racial fault lines in the United States at a polarizing moment in the nation's history. Congratulations, Brent Staples. The Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Editorial Cartooning for a distinguished cartoon or portfolio of cartoons awarded to Darren Bell, freelancer, for beautiful and daring editorial cartoons that took on issues affecting disenfranchised communities, calling out lies, hypocrisy, and fraud in the political turmoil surrounding the Trump administration. Congratulations, Darren Bell. Congratulations. Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Breaking News Photography for a distinguished example of breaking news photography awarded to the photography staff of Reuters for a vivid and startling visual narrative of the urgency, desperation, and sadness of migrants as they journeyed to the U.S. from Central and South America. Congratulations to the staff of Reuters. And now the Pulitzer Prize in Journalism for Feature Photography for a distinguished example of feature photography awarded to Lorenzo Tugnoli of the Washington Post for brilliant photo storytelling of the tragic famine in Yemen, shown through images in which beauty and composure are intertwined with devastation. Congratulations, Lorenzo Tugnoli. And now, a special Pulitzer citation. To honor the journalist, staff, and the editorial board of the Capital Gazette, Annapolis, Maryland, for their courageous response to the largest killing of journalists in U.S. history in their newsroom on June 28, 2018, and for demonstrating unflagging commitment to covering the news and serving their community at a time of unspeakable grief. The citation comes with a $100,000 bequest by the Pulitzer Board to be used to further the newspaper's journalistic mission. Thank you and congratulations to the Capital Gazette of Annapolis, Maryland. Are we ready to resume? The citation for the Pulitzer Prize in Fiction for Distinguished Fiction, awarded to The Overstory by Richard Powers, an ingeniously structured narrative that branches and canopies like the trees at the core of the story, whose wonder and connectivity echo those of the human living amongst them. Congratulations to Richard Powers for The Overstory. Oh, Richard. The Pulitzer Prize in Drama for a distinguished play, awarded to Fairview by Jackie Sibley's Drury, a hard-hitting drama that examines race in a highly conceptual, layered structure, ultimately bringing audiences into the actors' community to face deep-seated prejudices. Congratulations to Jackie Sibley's Drury. The Pulitzer Prize in History for a distinguished and appropriately documented book on the history of the United States, awarded to Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom by David W. Blight, a breathtaking history that demonstrates the scope of Frederick Douglass's influence through the deep research on his writings, intellectual evolution, and his relationship. Congratulations. Pulitzer Prize in Biography for a distinguished biography, autobiography, or memoir by an American author, awarded to The New Negro, The Life of Elaine Locke by Jeffrey C. Stewart, a panoramic view of the personal trials and artistic triumphs of the father of the Harlem Renaissance and the movement he inspired. Congratulations, Jeffrey Stewart. Now the Pulitzer Prize in Poetry for a distinguished volume of original verse by an American author, awarded to Be With by Forrest Gander, a collection of elegies that grapple with sudden loss and the difficulties of expressing grief and yearning for the departed. Congratulations, Forrest Gander. Now the Pulitzer Prize in General Nonfiction for a distinguished and appropriately documented book of nonfiction, awarded to Amity and Prosperity, One Family and the Fracturing of America by Eliza Griswold, a classic American story grippingly told of an Appalachian family struggling to retain its middle-class status in the shadow of destruction wreaked by corporate oil fracking. Congratulations, Eliza Griswold. The Pulitzer Prize in Music for a distinguished musical composition by an American that has had its first performance or recording in the United States during the year, awarded to Prism by Ellen Reed, premiered by the Los Angeles Opera, a bold new operatic work that uses sophisticated vocal writing and striking instrumental timbres to confront difficult subject matter, the effects of sexual and emotional abuse. Libretto by Roxy Perkins. Congratulations to Ellen Reed. And now a Pulitzer Prize special citation. A posthumous special citation to Aretha Franklin for her indelible contribution to American music and culture for more than 5 decades. Clive Davis and Gwendolyn Quinn will accept the award.
What an afternoon. Congratulations to all of you. Give yourselves a round. Okay. So before we conclude our program, we have another very special musical presentation for you by an artist whose performance here today is deeply personal. She too has unfortunately experienced unfathomable loss due to gun violence, but she's also here in celebration of the life of Aretha Franklin. In fact, she performed at Ms. Franklin's funeral and will portray her in an upcoming biopic about the music legend. And I want to tell you that her flight was canceled yesterday, and she drove 14 hours to be here and is donating this performance. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Oscar winner and Broadway alum Jennifer Hudson.
you know that same old grace Let me tell you about amazing grace. It was His amazing grace that brought me safe thus far. Amazing grace. It was His amazing grace. I want you to know. Amazing grace. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound. My God. Amazing how it's amazing. Yeah, yeah. Before I tip on out this door, let me talk to you about my God. Let me tell you how He's amazing. He woke me up. He started me on my way. Yes, He did. My God, my God. How amazing. He's amazing. Yes, He is.
All right. That's how we roll at the Pulitzer Prizes. I want to thank all of you for coming today. I hope you feel celebrated and uplifted. We're so proud of all of you. Congratulations. And this concludes our program. Now, all the winners, please come for your class picture.